It is really coming down out there. What was a 70% chance of snow is now 100%. And I think we're expecting 2 to 4 inches. All I know is that it's very comfy, cozy here in the cottage. We've got a fire in the fireplace. I'm getting ready to put some bean soup on. And I'm glad to be indoors and not out in this sleet. So here's a little topiary tour of my office. I continue to organize in here, clear out, get rid of old files, all in the company of this beautiful snowfall and all of my topiaries. Let me stand back to show you my topiary table. I moved those lamps that used to be in the parlor in here, and now I'm just kind of going through all of my bookshelves, straightening them up, culling them out, and doing what I can to decrease the clutter on my desk. I'm also taking the time to really get stuff down on my calendar as we try to organize our shooting schedules for the coming months. And there's a lot to do. But I really enjoy working inside on days like this because it just feels so cozy. I can look outside. I can hear the kids playing. You can see them out there on the corner. Would have been fun to have had this at Christmas. Just savoring the little moments.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a Tech Talk with Stuart. Today we're going to be talking about how to make a playlist on Spotify. So first you have to open the app. That might have been an obvious one. Next there's a plus sign up in the top right corner. Find it, click it. Now just select playlist from the new menu below. Now you need to name your playlist, followed by selecting create. And then you'll have a button in the middle of the screen to select songs to go into your playlist. And that's where you start having fun. So, happy listening.
So as always, order begins with disorder. I'm rearranging this closet and taking everything out of it, most of which is now all over the floor. So I'm going to put the china in some of these new storage bags. Okay. Well, as always, before order, there is disorder. And certainly there's a lot of disorder right now in the parlor because I'm cleaning out this closet or rearranging it a little bit. The storage that I had just wasn't really optimal. And I got some more of these quilted china storage containers. So I'm going to be transferring a lot of my different china into those storage containers and repositioning them in here with a new shelf, which will be taller and go along that wall right there. So I'm hoping everything will be a little bit more accessible. As time went by, I just started shoving things in there as we kind of are wont to do. So at any rate, Hopefully, I will make some progress, and next time you see this, it will be considerably more orderly. So the mess continues, but it's not as great as it was earlier. I've managed to get practically all of the china in the quilted cases. And now I need to just figure out what type of configuration I want to use in the closet with this new taller shelf that I took out of the laundry room. And like I say, I just want it to be more accessible. And I'm occasionally taking breaks to eat my yogurt and blueberries and pecans. Delish. When I moved the books off of the sideboard and onto the mantle, then I needed to put something here. And I really wanted a little bit more clear space. The wonderful thing, you guys, about this rose arrangement that I did the other day is it's starting to dry in place, and it will be, I think, just as beautiful in a dried state as it was in a fresh one. Look at how those colors are starting to deepen and change. Both this larger one and the smaller one over here. So it's proving to be a pretty long-lasting arrangement, inspired by a tear sheet. And then quite a while ago, I got these marble pillar candlesticks from the Oklahoma City Museum of Art, but I really didn't want to use pillars on them, so I just put in place some of these taper candlesticks that fit perfectly in that spot, and put a couple of these glass hurricanes on them, and I really like the way they look. Kind of a fun twist on things. Did you get that? Fun twist on things as I'm looking at the twisted candles. All of this stuff is probably kind of silly, but you know, being a voyeur into somebody's life is sometimes kind of a fun thing to do, especially on a snowy day. Now later this afternoon, as I'm watching yet another episode of Anna Karenina, I'll probably bake something. I've got a can of pumpkin out just in case. But for now, I got up early this morning and I put some bean soup on. So we had a little bit of ham left from the holidays. And this is just a package of bean soup. And I had some frozen homemade chicken broth, which is a real treat for me, in the freezer. So just added that to the beans with some onions and a little more ham. And I've got some cornbread mix in the pantry, so it's what's for dinner. This, by the way, is the version that I'm watching, dating back to 1977. It's on the BBC and it's on Prime. And the problem is that I'm watching this during the day as I putter around, and then at night I'm reading War and Peace, and I'm beginning to get all of my characters confused. So many names ending in ski and Gronsky and Baronsky, and so many princesses and different titles, it can be easy to get them all confused. Here's another organization project I'm working on. By the way, I did order the larger table, and they're going to be sending it. This one will go bye-bye, and actually I decided to change the color on it, so that'll be a surprise once I get it, and I'll show you. So I'm working by candlelight over here, cleaning out my desk drawers and things in my office, bringing them in here. I mean, nothing is safe from my organizational frenzy. It's the luxury of January, I think. And especially fun when there's snowfall. And here's another bird's nest fern up here. that moved locations to get a little bit better light. And if you were over here having tea with me, maybe in the parlor, then I'd want to show you one more thing. And that is that yesterday would have been my first mom's 100th birthday. She died in 1962, but she would have been 100 this week. And my dad, he would have been 100 on January 27th, which is when his birthday is. And yes, he did rob the cradle just by a few months when he married my first mom. It looks pretty icy out there. I think it's slowing down a bit, but it's supposed to pick up, I think, a little bit more later this afternoon. I'm going through all of my tear sheets. Guess what might be my flower arrangement for next week? Well, a Wednesday walkabout outside would be cold and snowy indeed. So I'm doing a little cottage walkabout for you. If you're like me, you're probably in an organizational frenzy, cleaning out drawers, getting rid of stuff. If you have the luxury to do that and you didn't have to brave the snow and the ice and the sleet to get out and go to work today, but I'm just savoring every moment of this. It feels far more Christmassy, far more festive than it did in December. And I've rearranged a few things here in the parlor. I don't know if you've got any interest in this or not, but in lieu of walking around outside, here is what's going on inside. A gorgeous amaryllis in bloom. This is one of the color blends. I think this one is Dancing Queen. And look at the gorgeous, gorgeous flower heads on this and the big fat buds still waiting to bloom. One nice thing about this time of year is if you do get out and about, a lot of nurseries and garden centers. I had to run into Lowe's the other day for something, and while there, I got a couple of bird's nest ferns. So a lot of, and interrupted by a spam call, which is just the way of things these days. So I did get 2 beautiful bird's nest ferns while I was at Lowe's, and they're basking in the window, looking very pretty with that dark green in front of the snowfall behind them. And I rearranged a few things on the mantle, got out some fireplace matches because I finally got my little heater connected, working, no escaping gases, you can't tell, but there's definitely, see the little flame down in there, there's definitely heat coming out of there, making the parlor so much more cozy than it was before. And then just for the fun of it, because I can, I lit a bunch of candles, moved the books from the sideboard over to the mantle. And it was so fun. The gentleman from Maine who told me that he believed that this Jacobson painting was from, I believe he said Bay Harbor in Maine. I love those kind of connections. So true confessions, I'm kind of really in a Tolstoy mode right now. I've been watching Anna Karenina on BBC pretty much nonstop while I've been cleaning out things and organizing. And then at night, I'm still doing my War and Peace. Let me expand the view a little bit here. There we go. Probably it did something to the audio. But I've moved, part of my intention on just rearranging things is because, I don't know, this is my question of the day. If you're like me, particularly I've noticed in this smaller home that I enjoy rearranging things more than I did in the other home. And so I have these 2 chairs here because now that I've got a little fire in the fireplace, we can sit here and I could have tea for 2. simply by moving this little table here over into the middle right in front of the fireplace. And I've actually got a friend coming over next week for coffee or tea, and that'll be kind of cozy because it's so fun. Maybe it's been informed by the fact that I've been watching this old world stuff, but it just seems a fun thing to do, to have tea in front of your fire. It's kind of a silly romantic notion, but if you're not going to do it on a snowy day in January or a snowy week in January, when are you going to? So here is something that I did that had been bothering me for a while. I got this wonderful wicker basket that holds some of my garden tools. And I got this at Shop Good. They had been using it as part of a display, and I got it for just $10. And I really wanted to elevate it up off of the ground to make it a little bit taller. And I just turned upside down one of my campaign tables and campaign furniture, and it proved to just be the perfect size to elevate it. And now I've got this platform underneath, and that's where my garden shoes can be. And so it is, I don't know, it was just kind of a fun thing. And the fact that I so often find that a piece of furniture can be functional and really serve a purpose upside down as well as right side up is just an entertaining little notion. And that was stuck behind a chair in the great room, and it wasn't being used, so it's perfect for that spot right there. And then what I'm proud of, you'll see all the disorder first. And then, voila, I have a newly cleaned out and rearranged entertaining closet. I moved a taller shelf in here. It was really getting out. It was just becoming a mess, a lot of things on the floor. So I cleaned it out, put a taller shelf in here. I got some of those quilted padded containers for all of my china, and things fit in here so much better than they did before and are less cluttered, and it actually freed up some space in other areas in the cottage. And guess what room I'm going to tackle next? Probably this evening. We'll put on a good movie, have a fire going, be eating a bowl of bean soup with a hunk of cornbread. And that's pretty much what's going on here at the cottage on this snowy January day. I never did get some of my things cleaned up out here, notably the lights taken off of my Christmas tree that's just in the backyard, and my Christmas tree cut up to, some of the branches could be laid over the flower beds to help insulate them. Never got to that, but there's still time. A long time till spring. Thanks for spending some time with me at the cottage today. I hope you enjoyed this little voyeuristic tour of my life in the cottage.